Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a special edition of the Meet JMT podcast. My name is Jennifer, and I am your host and digital marketing manager here at JMT. During this multi-part series, we will be diving into a topic that has deeply impacted many of our employee owners, the recent hurricane named Helene that swept through western North Carolina and the surrounding region. In this episode, we'll be sharing the first-hand accounts of our Asheville, North Carolina employees and how this natural disaster changed their lives, both on a personal and professional level, as well as the incredible strength that has emerged from this challenging experience. Our hope is to not only highlight the difficulties faced, but also the sense of community and support that has blossomed in its wake.
My name is Stephanie Buckner. I'm an administrative assistant here at JMT in the Asheville office. During the storm, when the worst of it hit, I was home out in Leicester, North Carolina. It's kind of wedged between Madison County and Haywood County. I knew that the weather was coming, and so we are preppers. We have a strong belief that if you are not prepared yourself, you are not able to help anybody else and can actually be a burden in a situation. And so we had most of what we needed. Wasn't sure about the gas situation because the husband likes to mow. He likes a pretty yard. So I had gotten the animals good, cleaned all the stalls, had them ready to be put up for a couple days. And I spoke to him on the phone and he said Thursday, we'll go into work together because the weather is going to be bad on Thursday before it hit. And on our way home, we went by Tractor Supply and we drove down River Road, which goes along French Broad River, and the water was already over the banks. This was before the hurricane hit. I took pictures and I was just like, he's like, this is going to be bad. And I kind of looked at him. I said, hopefully it'll go a different way. I was worried. I was more worried. My sister's husband had been up here visiting and he was on his way back down to Florida. They live in Clearwater, Florida, where the hurricane was hitting Thursday night. And I was watching the news and it looked like the worst of it was going to hit Atlanta around sunrise. So I just went to bed. I figured I've got everyone bedded down. Everything's ready. And woke up in the morning and our driveway was underwater. We have streams going down both sides of our property and they come together at our driveway, which is a convenient place. And our driveway was, I couldn't get my car down that. It's gravel and it was gone. And then when we were able to get down to the bottom of the driveway, we've lived there for 25 years, all kinds of storms. 2 different snowstorms where we lost power for 5 days. And I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. Just the trees down. So we went out to check on, there's another gentleman that works here at this JMT location that lives up the road. And we went to go check on them to make sure they're okay. They're normally a little bit preppers too. So we were just seeing if they needed anything, and trees clogged up the bridge to get to their house and their whole yard was flooded. It was just crazy. The whole creek there was rerouted and it was real close to their house. They were real lucky that the house didn't get hurt. We were talking to them and we needed to go get gas because we just didn't have enough gas to run our generator. Both ways, the road was over halfway gone where we were with our friends there. And then going the other way, it was just real deep underwater. The road right before a bridge going that way was partially gone. We were thinking, okay, how are we going to get out? And one neighbor with a tractor and a chainsaw got out really early in the morning and he cut like tunnels through the trees. He cleared about 9 miles of road. One person, nobody asked him to do it. We tried to offer help and he's like, I already got it. It's good, And then, another neighbor came over the next day and offered to help us with our driveway because our tractor wasn't working. I mean, it's just people helping out. We never lost water because we have spring water that even when the power isn't on, we don't have our pump and filter. We have gravity fed water. So we were putting water in coolers and taking it to neighbors who needed it. You come into town and of course people were in shock because Friday the water was so high and it didn't crest until Friday night. And people were just in shock, I think. But all you had to do was go to a church. You didn't have to attend that church. You didn't have to know anyone that went to that church. And even though there wasn't power, people had grills, people fed people they didn't know. Couldn't call anyone with your cell phone to see what was going on, didn't have news, had AM radio, but to see people just give and do, it was something. That Friday though, before the water was real bad, we couldn't find gas stations, and then when you did find one that by some miracle had power, the lines were long. And then when you got up there, you had to pay with cash. And I was in the store and this girl had waited like 2.5 hours and she got up there and couldn't get any gas because she didn't have cash. Not many people carry cash. We thought, things were a little sketchy in Asheville. So we thought, well, we're going to go to Tennessee. It's not that far to where my daughter's in college. And we're going to have lunch with her and, hang out with her, get gas there, and then we'll come back. So we got on the road and we were just shocked by the water was so high up close to the interstate. But we just went on through Weaverville and head north to Tennessee to meet with my daughter. And we were on this, it's a newer bridge, but it's like an interstate going to Tennessee, and all of a sudden the traffic stopped. Tractor trailers kind of pulled around in front of the cars by a turnaround for the police. And these truckers just got out and started directing traffic, like all 3 lanes into the turnaround to get off the interstate. No one knew what happened. We just had to turn around and go back the other way. We found out that they got police in there to block the road off because that bridge was giving way. We had, like, our driveway got washed out. We had some fences down, but people lost so much. And you see people's personal belongings right now still hanging all out of those trees. You see the clothes, you see shoes everywhere. As soon as I came in, Tim came in before I did because he got sent out to help with the emergency work. He told me they had no water, so I brought water in coolers from home, came in here to see what all I could do. And immediately Hardy was here, Dwayne was here. You had a few people that were here, and they were trying to reach out to everybody, make sure everyone was okay. They could get out of their house. They didn't have any emergency needs. And there was one person I think Hardy had a hard time getting a hold of, and he drove all the way out to the person's home and made sure he was okay. After they made sure everyone was good and didn't have any urgent needs, of course, they were in contact with Jennifer and the other people, and it seems like just immediately people in other offices mobilized to help us out, which was wonderful. Middlesboro was the first one to show up. They brought a bunch of water and they brought a whole bunch of things. People that could get to the office came in and, got what they needed because you couldn't buy anything. It's all electronic. They had no way to ring things up because they didn't have something to read a barcode. Even if you had cash to pay, you couldn't buy anything in a grocery store. It was wild. I also want to mention for them to come here, I-40, which is a main interstate, was destroyed. It's going to be over a year before that'll even be open again. So they had to come all the way down to Greenville, Tennessee, I believe, and come like another hour and some out of their way just to get here. When Jennifer Woolery came, it was just her and her son and two of his friends, I believe. It was an immense amount of food you didn't have to cook. Michelle had made it in, and she couldn't drive her car all the way up her road. She's like walking in and out, no power, no internet. She was working so hard with me, and we were getting everything put back in our conference room and organizing it. And when we went to say bye and thank Jennifer and her son pulls his own generator out of the trailer and 3 5-gallon containers full of gas and said, I know no one asked for this, but I just felt like I had it and I didn't need it. I just brought it. Does anyone need it? And Michelle's mouth dropped open. She was told it could be weeks before she had power. He showed her how to work it, how to start it up and everything. And that really, really helped out Michelle. Anyone who would hear, I think it's just really important for everybody. If you keep extra batteries and extra water and food that doesn't need to be cooked, maybe, or what, enough for yourself and some to share. Even if you live in an apartment, from what I understand, like in Asheville, it got rough. We take for granted those of us that live out in the country have space. I wasn't going to run out of water, but when you live like in a big tall apartment building, you don't have electricity or water. If you live in a situation like that and you have water to share and some food and some batteries or headlamps, you could really help somebody else out. You wouldn't be a burden on anyone else, and then you could help them, because our first responders are wonderful, but it took them a while to get there. So when people can help support themselves and also be there for their neighbors, you never know. I mean, I don't know what the likelihood is that we'll get hit with that kind of storm, but we've lost power in the winter. And if you have extra soup you can give your neighbor or water, that can really make a big difference for someone.
Thank you for tuning in to another Meet JMT podcast, where we explored Hurricane Helene's impact on our JMT employees and their remarkable resilience. We hope this episode is a powerful reminder that while we can prepare for many things, we can never fully anticipate the unexpected. As we reflect on the strength and the unity shown during these challenging times, let us embrace these experiences and continue to support one another. Stay safe, stay connected, and we'll see you next time.